Lions football. Yeah, Detroit, it's a football town. It absolutely is. And right now we are taking a look at the 2025 Detroit Lions, starting with the NFL draft because it is all draft all the time here at Rogue Football, and working into kind of what we expect from this draft class and from the Lions in 2025. I know with two coordinators exiting the building, it's kind of common refrain, popular to say, are the Lions taking a step back this year? Losing their offensive play caller, offensive designer, losing Aaron Glenn, a great leader, a great defensive coordinator. We're going to talk about it here today, starting with the draft class. Really appreciate y'all tuning in. If you enjoy the content, it is all draft all the time, as I mentioned. Please hit that like and subscribe button. So the Lions, they come in with the 28th overall pick. And obviously, big news yesterday. Big news yesterday. All-Pro center, Pro Bowl center, retiring from the NFL. Big news for them. So, fortunately, you look at this draft, they addressed the interior of the offensive line a good little bit. Now, at 28 overall, they started off with interior defensive lineman Tyleik Williams. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, you know I love Tyleik Williams. Tyleik Williams, at 330 plus pounds, has no business moving the way he does. But he's not just this like 330 pound finesse guy. He has strength. He is really good at deconstructing blocks at the point of attack in a flash. He's athletic. So I like Tyleik Williams a lot. I like the interior of their defensive line a lot. You have Aleem McNeil coming back, DJ Reader, Tyleik Williams, Levi Onwuzurike, and do not forget Roy Lopez comes over from Arizona. That's a really good scheme fit. I think it's assuming that Kelvin Shepherd's going to do a lot of the similar things that they've been doing. But Roy Lopez, Mekhi Wingo, also a guy that I kind of liked last year in the draft. So I think adding Tyleik Williams at 28, I think he's going to fit their culture. I think he's going to end up being a great draft pick. I think that this draft class, 2025 NFL draft class, the interior defensive line was so strong. And being able to get a guy like Tyleik Williams at 28, I thought was pretty awesome. I also think getting a guy like Tate Ratledge at 57, also awesome. Tate Ratledge. I mean, tell me this guy does not scream Dan Campbell. Whereas number 69, mustache, mullet, tattoos, somebody, dubs Freebird over his 40-yard dash. He plays extremely hard, played guard at Georgia, played a lot of right guard. But I think that he's got flexibility, versatility on the interior of the offensive line. He's been playing some center for them. And I think he's now projecting as their starting center moving forward. I'm all here for it. I'm very excited about that. The Lions have been built around their offensive line for a half decade. They've been built around that offensive line, and that just continues with this draft class, adding Tate Ratledge in the second round, and then also getting Miles Frazier in the fifth round. I couldn't believe he fell to the fifth round, 171 overall. Miles Frazier, I thought should have been a day 2 pick. So yeah, you've lost some guys. There's been guys that have left in free agency. There's been retirements, all that stuff, right? Guys you had to let go. But to me, Miles Frazier is going to come in. And yeah, Christian Mahogany stepping in as well. Another guy I really like. Plays like a lion. He is physical as all get out. This offensive line looks like I don't want to say it's not going to skip a beat at all. You have a rookie center replacing, one of the best in the game. But I think they're going to be really good still. And kind of segueing a little bit for a moment into their offensive coordinator, John Morton. He's a Detroit guy. So it means a lot to him. And I think that means a lot to Dan Campbell. He's also just had such an unbelievable wealth of experience in the NFL and in college. Has done a lot of time with the Raiders, but most recently was the pass game coordinator with the Broncos the last couple years. If you haven't been paying attention, that offense, that pass game, Sean Payton, that's a really good place to be. He actually spent time on staff in 2022 with the Lions as senior offensive assistant. And he has offensive coordinator experience. Like in 2017, he did a pretty darn good job with the Jets offense. I mean, Josh McCown had a pretty good year starting for them in 2017. And obviously, McCown was a journeyman quarterback. So I like the direction with John Morton. And Jared Goff had so much ownership of this offense. I think they're going to continue to push things forward. I think they're going to continue to push the envelope, be a smart offense. And that's just from a, mental upstairs play calling, game plan, scheme, all that stuff. Talent wise, I mean, geez, it's a loaded offense. But like continuing on with this draft class, Isaac Tesla, let me know how it's pronounced in the comment section below. Taking him at 70 would have been very Lions. Trading up to get him at 70 is extremely Lions. And, it's not something I would have done. It didn't make a lot of sense to me, but they valued him at an extremely high level. He's big, he's strong, he's fast, he doesn't drop the football. They see something in him. And the beautiful thing about bringing in somebody that maybe not everybody's in on or whatever it may be at a position like wide receiver, he doesn't have to be the guy at all. He's not going to be. He's not going to be asked to be the guy. He's going to ask to be a role player. Amon-Ra St. Brown is one of the best receivers in football. I think Jameson Williams is in for a huge year. You also have Tim Patrick. If he can stay healthy, that's huge. Khalif Raymond has been very productive for them. You also have Jahmyr Gibbs as a big-time receiver, Sam Laporta as a big-time receiver. And so this offensive skill position group is so strong, and dropping to slot into that sort of foundation, into that sort of group, I think even if it doesn't work out the way you want it to, it's probably not going to really hurt you all that much. But if it does, if they're right and everybody else is a little bit low on Tesla, hey, that they're cooking with even more gas, right? And then you go get, like I said, Miles Frazier in the 5th round at 171. Love that pick. He's strong. He's physical. He's a really good guard prospect. And then in the 6th round, Ahmad Hassanian, and this is a guy out of Boise State, plays with his hair on fire, plays like a lion. I'm not surprised to see him in Detroit at all, with the Fighting Dan Campbells. 7th round, Dan Jackson and Dominic Lovett, 2 Georgia guys. So they went and got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 picks, 3 of them from Georgia. Almost half the group is from Georgia. Nothing wrong with that. Dominic Lovett, a guy I like. I think fine taking a swing on him in the 7th round. I don't think he's probably going to end up being a special receiver, but a bottom of the roster type of guy, will contribute on special teams. I think Dan Jackson has a chance to play on the defensive side of the ball in the NFL during his rookie contract. And it's not going to be easy to break onto the field with this group on the back end, right? At all, because they went and got Terrion Arnold last year at corner, Amik Robertson nickel. They brought in DJ Reed, unbelievably underrated move. I love DJ Reed, one of my favorite corners in the league. But at safety specifically, talk about Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch. So Dan Jackson, he's not going to have an easy path to finding the field, but he's a good player and he'll contribute on special teams and he's smart. So that was very strong for me. Defensively, as I mentioned, Kelvin Shepherd taking over for Aaron Glenn. I think they're going to have a similar style of defense. Shepherd's going to put a little bit of his own spin on it. Obviously, former linebackers coach, former linebacker in the NFL. So you've heard like Jack Campbell talk about how excited he is for this, but we've talked a lot about the secondary, which I think is extremely strong. The front, which we talked about the interior defensive line. Aiden Hutchinson coming back. He's fully cleared to go. I have very little question he's going to be exactly what he wants to be because he's going to work his ass off to do it. And he was playing at a defensive MVP or defensive player of the year level before he got injured last year. Marcus Davenport, you hope, can stay healthy. So the edge group isn't like the deepest. You have Josh Paschal. You brought in Ahmad Hassanian. It's not the deepest group on the edge, but collectively, I think they have enough to be a really good defensive front. And then linebacker-wise, they're loaded. Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, Alex Anzalone, Malcolm Rodriguez. It's a really good group there. So this roster is just, it's awesome. And, I talked about Jared Goff. to me, like, he is a little bit of a product of this offense being so strong with Ben Johnson the last several years. Like I said, I think he had so much ownership, though, of the offense. I think a lot of the offense is a little bit like, it's like a symbiotic relation, whatever you want to call it, right? Like, Jared Goff has so much ownership of the offense that this offense owes a lot to him. But I also think, like, getting to this point, he owes a lot to the offense, a lot to Ben Johnson, etc. But at this point now, I think that Jared Goff and John Morton are going to be ready with this offensive line group, with this skill position group, to not skip a beat. I think the Lions are going to, if they can stay a little bit healthier this year, have a better chance to win the Super Bowl than they did last year. Obviously, that's because of injuries. Now, that's just from looking at them internally, looking at this roster, this coaching staff. I think they're going to be a better football team than they were last year. I think Terrion Arnold's going to be a lot better. I think DJ Reed is a great player, great addition. I think Jameson Williams is really coming into his own. There's just a lot to get excited about here. I think they're going to be a better football team than they were last year. But, and again, if they can stay healthy, if Aiden Hutchinson can stay healthy, all that stuff, that's going to be huge. This division, it just keeps getting tougher. And you look at the Vikings. I've been thinking about the NFC North a lot. Which team has the flaw? Because, like, in my head, I'm like, who is not going to make the playoffs from this group? I was like, well, could the fact that you lose Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn lead to some regression there? I've been thinking about it a lot. I don't think it will. I really don't. Because I think they're actually more talented now. The Vikings, obviously, they lose Sam Darnold. They add their rookie from last year into the starting lineup, J.J. McCarthy. I was a pretty big fan of J.J. McCarthy. I think he's a smart guy. I think he's a leader. I think he's got great talent around him, a great coach. And then they completely fixed the interior offensive line in Minnesota, which was huge. So I think they're in a good spot. Kevin O'Connell's a great coach. I think you look at the Green Bay Packers. Matt LaFleur is a great coach. They've got a lot of talent. They went and added another receiver in the first round. So you've got those two. And then the Bears, obviously they got your OC. He's now leading the charge over there with Caleb Williams, with all that talent. They went and got their version of Sam Laporta in the draft, Michigan man, right? And so they've got a talented defense, and Dennis Allen's a great defensive coach. So this division is harder. And that would be one reason you could potentially see the Lions maybe even as a better team or equal team to what they were last year, not win as many games. I still have them winning their division, though. I think Dan Campbell is such a great leader. I think he did a good job picking these coordinators. And now, let's not pretend Campbell is infallible when it comes to picking coordinators. He's not. Ben Johnson was not his first offensive coordinator in Detroit, right? But I think he's dialed in. I think he's really dialed in with this group. I think that John Morton's got the right stuff. I think Kelvin Shepard, coming from within this organization, I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to be just as good as they were last year on the field. I think that they're going to win the NFC North, let the chips fall where they may in the playoffs. Right now, I have a hard time looking at the NFC and really picking against the Eagles. I know it's hard to repeat, but the Eagles have a lot of the ingredients, and we don't need to rehash everything about the Eagles. You can go check that video out I've made about the Eagles already for 2025. But I think the Lions are right there. I think they're right there. So we will later in the summer, right before preseason gets going, I think we'll probably do the official predictions, but I will go ahead and tell you I'm going to have the Lions winning the NFC North. I think they've done a really good job keeping it going here in Detroit, and I'm excited to see what they can do in this next phase of the Dan Campbell Detroit Lions era. I really am. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. If you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a good one.